I know many of you have been Gemini customers for a long time, so a lot of you may still refer to our company name or our Gemini software as BPA or Clear Orbit. However, just a reminder, our official company name is Take Supply Chain, as Clear Orbit was acquired by our parent company, Take Solutions, in 2007. Regardless of what you call us, we're still very much the same team. We're sitting in the same office right here in beautiful Austin, Texas, where we've sat for the past 20 years. Our key resources, our customer support, they're all still based here in Austin. However, we now have the benefit of some additional scalability and flexibility due to our parent company's global resources, where there's folks sitting in some other locations. In addition to the mobile data collection product line that we call Gemini, we have a supply chain trading partner collaboration product line that we call OneSCM, and we're more than happy to provide you with information about OneSCM and how it might help your business, but today the focus is purely on Gemini. As you guys know, Gemini is native to Oracle. It works closely with Oracle EBS. It extends your Oracle ERP by enabling mobile and automated data entry, and provides speed and accuracy for your transactions. Gemini is trusted by many customers like you, and it provides visibility and control over the movement of hundreds of millions of dollars of material and FGI every day. Gemini uses Oracle APIs, so whether the data is input via Oracle Forms or via a handheld scanner that runs the Gemini software, the data is handled and it's viewed in a very consistent manner. Gemini is very easy to manage. The users, the menus, the responsibilities, profiles, they're all defined and maintained within Oracle Forms, so you can modify your desired setup without any code changes in Gemini itself. And also, if there's features that are not supported by Oracle, they can be easily added to Gemini as custom transactions, since all of the Gemini transactions are written in PL SQL. So enough introduction, let's talk a bit about Gemini 2. So, what is Gemini 2? So, I guess, simply stated, we've tried to keep the best features and the learnings from our nearly 20 years of customer experience with Gemini, and we've enhanced it with the best of today's technology. So Gemini 2 provides all the functionality and the full set of Oracle EBS transactions that are currently in Gemini today, and we actually built Gemini 2 on top of the Gemini 1 code base. So the feature, the functions, validation logic, process logic, they're all the same as Gemini 1. Plus, we've added some key enhancements, like there's a Windows user interface versus the current Telnet UI in Gemini 1, an interior architecture. So Gemini 2 has separate database, app, and UI layers, so it's more flexible from both a UI and a development perspective. It enables more features and a lower total cost of ownership. Gemini 2 also has the ability to leverage smart devices, so you can access data via the cloud, and you can take Gemini outside of your four walls. So let's talk in a little more depth on the next slide about some of the specific Gemini enhancements. So Gemini 2 now has a much more user-friendly Windows user interface, versus the Telnet. It works with Windows 6.1 mobile and above, and it runs on Windows 7 Server. And in addition to just generally being more modern and easier to work with than Telnet, Gemini can now leverage features like checkbox grouping and radio button selection, things like that, to just make it easier and quicker to execute transactions. Gemini 2 also has administrator-level configurations that can be accessed via a web page, and this provides a lot more flexibility and faster implementation for things like configurable single scan receiving. You can now use 2D matrix or QR barcodes. You can actually configure the fields, the sequence, the delimiters via this admin level config screen, and it's no longer a customized transaction that's enabled by code like it was in Gemini 1. It's configurable. Also, browser-based transaction prompts can be configured in Gemini 2 without any customization that's required. RFID support is now easily configurable, and voice-enabled transactions will be available via a module that we call Gemini Voice. batch, offline transactions, they're provided. So Gemini 2, again, can be used both within and outside of your four walls in places where wireless isn't available. You can use Gemini 2 with your smart devices, running all the major mobile operating systems, so Android, iOS, Windows Mobile. So you can use tablets, smartphones, scanners, push-pull data via the cloud. We refer to this functionality as Gemini Remote. On this next slide, let's talk a little bit about the rollout of these features and enhancements. So basically, this slide summarizes the current 12-month roadmap, and it provides some time context regarding what new features are available right now as part of the Gemini 2 beta version and what features will be rolled out in the next couple of releases. And I think the two main points on this slide, they're on the left. The beta version is available right now. So Gomathi will be providing you with a live demo of that and talking about those features here in just a moment. And on the right side, there's going to be 2 releases during 2015, and those releases will complete the rollout of the new Gemini 2 features. Those are planned in the March and September timeframes. So you can see kind of the timing of various features rolling out on this slide. Let's move on to the live demo portion of the webinar. I know that's a lot more exciting than looking at slides. Gomathi and our team have done some great work. We believe that you'll like what you see in the demo. This slide here summarizes 5 of the key new features that Gomathi is going to show you. So again, the Windows UI is new, the radio button selection, checkbox, single scan receiving, admin level config. So she'll share with you all that stuff and show you how it works. So I'll pass screen sharing over to Gomathi now. Gomathi?
Thank you, David. Hello, everyone. This is Gomathi. You all know about our Gemini. You all know about our Gemini application. It is simple, fast, but works only on Telnet server. Because of this restriction, we couldn't improve the product much other than adding more transactions. Now Gemini runs on Windows server, which allows us to add different features for improved efficiency. Let me start with a transaction so that I can explain how Gemini 2 works. So currently Gemini 2 is running on a scanner. I am using a emulator software to show it on my screen. There is only one responsibility, so it has defaulted the value, and we can select the organization from the list of values. I'm just going to proceed by accepting the default value. We have different groups as in current Gemini. We have inventory, receiving, manufacturing, shipping, and also we have options to change the responsibility and organization. And for OPM responsibility, we have 3 OPM transactions too. Currently for the demo, I'm just going to show the inventory, receiving, and manufacturing transactions. So let me start with inventory, sub-inventory transfer. So I just entered the from sub-inventory. I'm just going to enter the lot control item. I can enter percentage or F4 on my scanner, or enter a partial value and select a value from the LOV. Quantity. So as I entered the lot, it defaulted the lot quantity. So this is the same behavior as you see in current Gemini. Let me enter lot quantity as 3. So as I didn't complete entering the transaction quantity, it prompts me for the lot again. It defaulted the remaining quantity. And now it enabled the process button. That means I entered all the values for the transaction. It is ready for process. So I'm just pressing enter key to finish the process. It submitted the request. So here, all we did was for Gemini 2.0, we just took the existing transaction file See here, for example, in Gemini 1.0, we just display the value, and if we need any input from the user, we just send the data to the Telnet server, so Telnet screen will display this value. Here in Gemini 2.0, what we are doing is we capture the value before it goes to Telnet, and then we direct to Windows Server. So you don't see any changes in the functionality, at least in the standard transactions. I mean, there is no change in the transaction flow, there is no change in the validation or process logic. All the function keys remain the same. User can press F5 on the scanner, or he can click on the back button here, and F10 cancel button. So all the functionality remains the same. Only thing is the user interface is different now. So let me start on the new features we have added in Gemini 2. So I'm going to remove transaction. So as we have graphical user interface, we have added features like radio button selection and checkbox grouping. So this is the standard remove transaction where you move the assembly from one operation sequence to another. I'm going to enter the job number. So transaction defaulted the from sequence. Then the next prompt will be from step. Usually user needs to manually enter the value. Now we have this radio button grouping, so it displays the valid value for the user. The user doesn't need to manually enter the value. He can just select it from the list and move on. I'm just pressing enter key to go to the next field. It defaulted the two sequence, pressing enter key again, and it defaulted the two step with a default step as to move. So basically, I mean, instead of entering the values manually, user can select the values from the list, because this is kind of all the valid values are being displayed. So he can just select one value from the list and avoid making errors. So I'm done with entering the values, and I can process it. So this radio button feature can be added to any transactions, any field, as long as the valid values list is small. We can just display the values, and user can just select one value and proceed. Next, we have checkbox grouping. We have issue transaction here. This is to issue the components to the job, to build the assembly. So basically, in standard Gemini, in current Gemini, if there are four components required to build an assembly, user needs to go through our issue transaction, enter the information for each component, and perform the transaction. So to issue 4 components, he need to perform 4 different transactions, entering all the values required for each transaction. So here I'm just going to enter the job number. So it displays the item list. Basically, it displays all the components, sub-inventory, operation sequence, and the quantity required to build this assembly. As this information is already defined in bill of materials, we are just getting all the values. These are all valid values for the transaction. We are displaying it in the list. So user can select the components that he wants to issue now. So I'm just selecting 4. So transaction displays the count as 4, process, done. So I just finished 4 transactions in one. So this checkbox feature can be added in any transaction like receiving or pick and from. Receiving, we can display the list with all the items in the purchase order number along with quantity and other information. And in pick and form, if the sales order is already allocated in Oracle, we can display the reservations. Basically, user can look at the list and see what item he needs to pick, where he needs to go to pick that, the location information, and also how much he needs to pick. All the values will be there. User can go to the location, pick the items. As he picks, he can just select the entry from the checkbox list and proceed. So he doesn't need to wait for completing each and every transaction. We are just performing, number of transactions in one go. So basically, with less keystrokes, user can complete his task real faster. Next, we have single scan receiving. So usually, our PO receiving transaction, you need to enter the PO item and quantity, sub-inventory, and other information. I have a 2D barcode with all the information. I'm just going to scan it now. So it took all the values required from that 2D barcode and it enabled the process button. I'm just going to press the enter key. It's done. So basically, I just completed the PO receiving transaction just with one barcode. Important thing here is fields for the values in the barcode are defined in a web form. So let me show you that form real quick. So we have this barcode configuration form right now. So here I have defined the field for the barcode that I entered just now. So it has the definition like it has 3 different fields. It has item with K as the prefix and the length is 4 characters, and then it has purchase order number and quantity. So if you have any barcode, it's not just for 2D barcode. Even if you have a GTAN barcode, you can come here and you can select the responsibility transaction and at what prompt you are going to scan that barcode. Then you can define the format here. So, main thing is in current Gemini, this is the customization because our transaction by default, it expects only one value from the barcode. So if you are trying to scan a barcode with multiple values, code needs to parse the barcode, take the values and apply it to appropriate field. This is the customization because we need to add the parsing logic. Now in Gemini 2, this is the standard product. All you need to do is come here and define your barcode format. And when our transaction starts, it will look at the table behind this format and it will figure out, okay, this barcode has all these fields, and it will parse it out and apply the value. And this is not just for PO receiving, it can be enabled for any other transaction. So let me show you one inventory transaction. We have this delimiter feature, so I'm just going to add the delimiter asterisk. Let me close this and wait a minute. So I'm going to scan it at item prompt. I'm just going to define the delimiter. I'm going to add the fields. So all the fields available for this transaction will get displayed here. Item, sub-inventory, and lot. I'm saving it. So I'm done with the barcode configuration. Let me go to the inventory account alias transaction. Enter the source. I'm going to scan the barcode with all the 3 values. Transaction took that barcode and it defaulted item and sub-inventory. I'm just going to enter the quantity. It defaulted the lot also. So basically, instead of having 4 different barcodes, you can have one barcode on your label with all the 4 values. All you need to do is maybe change your existing label. The label change is pretty simple, and you can just define that barcode format in our web form. That's it. Our transaction will take care of the remaining. So let me finish this transaction. So next thing we have is field configuration. So here, say sub-inventory transfer. So the default prompts will be from sub-inventory items to sub-inventory and quantity. So we have all these prompts defined in our code. So when you get our standard transactions, it will have all these values. Now we have a field configuration form where you can go ahead and change the values. So it displays all the transaction prompts that we display on the sub-inventory transfer screen. So I'm just going to change the item as part number. So I will change the to sub-inventory as to warehouse, and from sub-inventory as from warehouse. Save. Prompt configured successfully. Okay. Let me come out of sub-inventory transfer. Getting back in again. You can see all the changes. It is that simple. All you need to do is just go to that form, change the values, what you want to see, done. There is no code change, no customization. So, in field assignment form, here there is the field assignment form. During the installation, we will define the fields for all the transactions we provide. So, say if you select account alias issue, you can see all the fields. So, all these fields will be loaded when we do the installation. Then afterwards, if you want to change any field for this transaction, you can go to the field configuration form and add the change. So that's all the features we have planned for our demo today. If you have any questions, please submit them during our Q&A session. Now I will pass the control back to David.
Okay, thanks, Timothy. Let me get my screen back up. There we go. So I'm going to quickly review some important points to remember about Gemini 2, and then I'll provide you with a bit of information about the beta program. So as a reminder, Gemini 2, it'll still have the same transaction set that's available in Gemini 1. So this slide lists some of those transactions. Gemini 1 has a library of more than 100 different standard transactions that have been developed and tested and improved over many years, and all of these transactions, they will be available on Gemini 2, so you still get them all. Also, it'll be easy to migrate your existing customizations over to Gemini 2. Remember that Gemini 2 is built on top of the Gemini 1 code base, as Gomati said, so the feature, the function, the validation, the process logic, it's all the same as Gemini 1. Also, the CLM and the label printing, it's unchanged. So even if you have some custom labels, Gemini 2 will still print them. So it should be an easy transition for your label printing. Also, regarding transaction customizations, it's just a matter of converting them to the new Gemini 2 Windows UI. So depending on their complexity, they could be converted as quickly as just a few hours over to the new UI in Gemini 2. So I'm going to move on and provide you a bit more information about the beta program itself. So let's see. So please consider this, this webinar, this discussion today, you can consider this your official invitation to all of you to participate in the Gemini 2 beta program. In the next few slides, I'll give you an overview of that program, help you determine, if you'd like to participate or not. We hope that you do. If you do choose to participate, we will provide you obviously with a beta version of the software, and you can use it with your own existing Oracle Gemini test environment. So you get to use your own real data as part of the beta testing. The beta version includes currently 15 different standard transactions across all the main process areas. And on the next slide, I'll show you the exact available transactions that are in the beta version. And in addition, if you're currently using any custom transactions with Gemini, you can choose one of them and we'll build out that custom transaction on Gemini 2 for free as part of the beta. And you can also use it and test it out as part of your beta test along with the other standard transactions. So this slide just lists the 15 different standard transactions that are currently available on this beta version. It's a mix of different commonly used transactions across different categories. And then also just a reminder, if you've got a custom transaction, you can have one of your custom transaction that will be included as well. So you would be testing all of these as part of the beta test. Regarding the beta program environment, as we've been discussing, Gemini 2 does run in a Windows environment. It requires a handheld scanner that runs Windows Mobile 6.1 or higher and a computer that runs Windows 7 Server. So if you're already using Windows and you do have the appropriate scanner and the appropriate computer hardware available, then you can use your existing devices for the beta program. You don't need to swap them out or anything. If you are currently using Telnet and you don't have the appropriate Windows handheld scanner or the appropriate Windows computer available for the beta, then we will provide it for you. We'll send you out the scanner loaded with Windows 6.1 and a Windows box so you can use those. We're trying to make it as simple as you can. The next couple of slides will give a visual representation of the beta setup to give you a better idea. So this first one, assuming that you're using a Windows environment currently, then you can just install the beta software on your existing Windows box or desktop. And note there on the left, Gemini 2, it leverages your existing CLR schema and your Oracle EBS test instance, so there's no changes that are required there. We'll send you the Gemini 2 install pack, and you can apply that to your test instance. And then this next slide shows, if you've got an existing Telnet environment and you don't have the appropriate Windows environment available, then we can provide both a Windows box and also a Windows handheld scanner running the right software that you can use during the beta program. Again, Gemini 2 leverages your existing CLR schema, your Oracle EBS test instance, so you just apply the Gemini 2 install pack that we send you. So next, I'll give a bit of an overview regarding the Gemini license entitlements and eligibility to participate in the beta program. The eligibility is real straightforward. If you've got a current Gemini maintenance contract, then you are eligible to participate in the beta program. The beta program is available now, and it's going to run through around March of 2015, and we've got 5 beta slots currently available. Regarding upgrading to Gemini 2 when it's released, again, if you've got a current Gemini maintenance contract, then you will be entitled to upgrade your currently licensed modules and transactions. Note that Gemini Remote and also Gemini Voice will be separately licensed modules. The upgrade to Gemini 2, it'll follow our standard upgrade policy where the software upgrade is free. If you need technical assistance from us related to customizations or any other implementation services, we can provide that for you, and it would be a services engagement. Also note that Gemini 1 is still fully supported, so there's not a requirement saying that you have to move over to Gemini 2. Gemini 1 is still fully supported, and if you do choose to move over to Gemini 2, both Gemini 1 and 2 can coexist. So you might continue using Gemini 1 with a Telnet interface in one location and Gemini 2 with a Windows UI in another, and that's okay. So they can coexist, and Gemini 1 will still be supported. And if you are interested in the beta program, or if you're interested in upgrading to Gemini 2, please contact your account rep, or you can email us. There's an email address shown here on the screen, and we'll help you take the next steps to make that happen.